we have a swamp. A mangrove swamp, to be exact. And honestly, there's nothing particularly special about it. So, how do we change that? Well, we can start by removing some trees. And while we commit some heinous acts of deforestation, let me explain a couple of things first. Typically, whenever you're making a build, it's always best to start with a couple of reference pictures, regardless of what you're building. This also applies to the pond that we're going to be making. For me, I put out a couple of nice looking ponds on Pinterest and saved it to give me a better idea of what I was going to build. And no, using references doesn't make you worse at building. In fact, it can make you better. Knowing how to translate two-dimensional pictures into Minecraft is always pretty useful when building, especially when it comes to more difficult and technical builds like trees, vehicles, and machinery. Also, this isn't exactly a tutorial per se. If you're watching this video, just take it as a reference. You don't have to follow exactly what I'm doing. You can take away things, you can add your own stuff. Feel free to do whatever you want. It's your own build after all. In any case, we are done. It looks a bit bald at the moment, but we are going to rectify that by terraforming the area with grass. Unfortunately, it's not a lot of area to terraform. Terraforming really isn't my strong suit. On a side note though, I actually quite like the colour of grass in swamps. If you look, it has a pretty nice gradient that isn't found in other biomes. It's why I like mangrove swamps so much. When you factor in the colour of the water, it makes for a really nice combination. Now we'll be adding a couple of leaves around the sides. As you can see, there's usually a bit of shrubbery at the edge of the pond. It helps to distinguish the border between water and land a bit better. Whenever you're building bushes, trees, or anything involving leaves, you can use 4 different types of leaves: spruce, birch, azalea, and any other leaf. Spruce, birch, and azalea retain their colours regardless of the biome they're in, which can be really helpful for adding different leaf colours. Anyways, we've got to add some here, and then we can add some grass to break up the leaf texture. I think it looks better already. Now will be the time to say that I'm going to build a tree. But first, what is this frame rate? The rest of the footage is fine. Anyways, I won't be giving a tutorial on how to make a tree. There's plenty of that on YouTube already. If you do want to try it out though, I'd recommend watching B-Double for any tree references. He's got quite a lot of them. And we're done with the first tree. It looks pretty decent, if you ask me. I've never actually built a coniferous tree before, so this is good for a first attempt. Now for the second tree and the third tree. This took about 2 hours. I don't know how people do this on survival. Anyways, we're going to move on to the actual elements of the pond. So, first off, we're going to take a quartz stair and place it anywhere in the water. Maybe here, and then put it like this so that's on the surface. After that, you can remove everything underneath, and then get an acacia button. There you have it, a duck. Let's add another one here, and here. There's another duck design that I'd like to show you guys. So first put a quartz block there, then 1 quartz stair at the back, and then 1 stair at the front, another one at the front. So now we're going to put a quartz stair on top of the foremost quartz stair. So place some slabs there, quartz stair, and then 1 slab on top of that stair. Then acacia trapdoor, and then we've got another duck. It's a bit of a bigger one, but it does look a bit more like a duck than the one at the back. Although we could technically add a bit of tail feathers. Yeah, like that. Or no, I think I can switch it to a stair. Yeah, I think that looks better. Apart from that, we can also do a boat. So first let's get some dark oak stairs. And I think that boat looks something like this. Yeah, maybe something a bit more elongated than that. But I don't know, my only point of reference for Minecraft boats is the Minecraft boat itself, which does not actually look like a real boat. It just looks more like a raft than anything. In any case, does this look okay? Yeah, maybe something like that. And Same for the other side. Now watch me struggle. Anyways, there and there. Okay, that looks really bad. Let's just add something at the bottom. And yeah, I think we need to widen this a bit. So we can make it wider by 1 block. And I don't think this will actually improve the shape of the boat. At the end of the day, it's still going to look like some odd little cuboid. Or actually, if we extended it a bit. Oh, this is annoying. If we extended it a bit to the side and made it a bit more like an actual boat, something like that. I have to check how it looks like, but yeah. Okay, that looks better. Now, do the same for the other side. Oh, and we probably can add a lantern at the back. It looks a bit cuter. Does that work? No, not like that. Over there and one there. Okay, that looks decent. There's probably better designs on the internet though. My horrible attempt at the boat aside, we can move on to our last element that we're going to add, the lily pads. In and of itself, one single block doesn't look much like a lily pad. This just looks like warped wart. Wow, that was difficult to say. But instead, we can add a couple more lily pads to the side. So we're going to be using melons and lime concrete to try and get a bit of the lily pad effect. You can see that melons have these veins that come out from the sides that look a bit like the veins of a lily pad. Technically, you could make your lily pads any color that you want. I was thinking about making a rainbow lily pad bridge someday. But for now, we're going to be sticking to lime and cyan. In essence though, don't be afraid to try out different colors. We could have gone for moss, or we could have just used regular lily pads. But Minecraft has so many blocks to choose from, and I think it'd be a waste not to use them. Now, regarding the size of the lily pads, what I like to do is to make them a square. It can be a 2x2 square, 1x1, or maybe a 3x3. Even bigger than that, actually. I would have done a circle, but circles don't exactly exist in Minecraft. You can also add various notches or indents inside the lily pads to make them resemble a lily pad just a little bit more. After all of that, there's still one more thing that we need to do. We've got to texture the water. When I say texture the water, what I mean is this. Water is rarely ever actually blue. The reason why stereotypical water always looks blue is because the surface of the water reflects the sky, which is blue. It's a weird mix of color theory and physics, but as the great Technoblade once said,
"Stay in school, kids. It makes you better at
building." In any case, water, when next to grass, usually looks green rather than blue because it reflects the green of the grass. But unless you have shaders, Minecraft doesn't show that. The solution? Fake the shading with block palettes. We're just going to add one layer of blocks underneath to make the water surface look just a bit more realistic. It's really quite unnecessary, but I've got to make this video longer. 9 minutes doesn't cut it. Anyways, if you look at the reference pictures, the water at the edge of a water body tends to look darker than the water in the middle of the pond because it reflects the shadows cast by the shrubbery. So we've gone ahead and filled that area with black concrete and terracotta. Under the lily pads though, we're going to use green blocks instead, because the water will reflect the green. The same goes for the boat and the ducks. Underneath the boat will be dark brown, and as for the ducks, it will be white. As a rule of thumb, when texturing water, always make the block underneath about the same color as the block above. If there is no block above though, feel free to make it as bright as you want, which is why we're going to use tuff, andesite, and prismarine to make the highlights of the water. So this is what it looks like for now. It does look okay, I think. I can't really say for certain what it's going to look like when it's done, but hopefully it turns out right. So let's get into it. Also, is it just me, or is my prismarine changing color? Like, look at it. One moment it's this purplish blue, and then just wait for it. Yeah, it just becomes green. Is that how prismarine always worked? So we're just about done with the water shading, and this is what it looks like. I think it looks quite okay. Granted, I've only done this about once or twice on a practice board, and both times I didn't use a mango swamp because I was on Bedrock Edition, and I used a regular swamp instead. But I do want to add a couple more decorations at the back, so here's a quick montage. Alright, so we are pretty much done, and let's get to it. So if you can see, I've put a few new small trees over there, and all the way over there. Let's get over the lily pad, which makes for some nice parkour. And yeah, this is the boat. Ignore that, I'm not finishing the back. There's a few more ducks too, and there's a few more lily pads with copper because I completely forgot that copper existed. Now, if we look to the back, you'll actually notice that there's some moss, which isn't the same color as the grass around it, but that's sort of the point. I used moss, and for the back, there's also some lime concrete to create a bit of a sunlight effect, so to speak, because it contrasts with the darker tones of the green of the grass. And same for the sponges too. I think it just looks nice. There's also the end stone. And over there, there's a couple of wither roses, which is pretty hazardous, but it creates a nice gradient effect with the ox-eye daisy and the closed-eye blossom. I completely forgot what it was. But anyways, we are done. And that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. This is my first video, so I'm really sorry if this was difficult to watch, especially with the FPS. I'll try and improve in the future. And feel free to comment anything I could improve on. I'm still trying to learn how to make videos and to build as well. So any input would really be appreciated. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!